You're listening to the Vint Wine Podcast, where you'll hear interviews and stories from around the wine world. From writers and critics to winemakers and sommeliers, we'll explore the people and businesses who are instrumental in shaping wine culture. Enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 5 Questions. In these quick conversations, we highlight the world-class writers, winemakers, and sommeliers featured on our full-length episodes in a quick 5-question format. We hope you learn a little bit more about the wine world and the people and companies that make it run. Enjoy! All right, we are here with 5 Questions with Marcel Giesen and Sherwyn Veldhuizen. Thanks so much for joining today.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to be here.
We'll dive right in. First question, where are your vineyards located and what varieties do you work with?
We're in the Weka Pass of North Canterbury, which is in the South Island of New Zealand on the east coast. We're growing Pinot Noir and Chardonnay there. We started in 1997, 28 years ago. And the last plantings were in 2022. We have 3.2 hectares of high-density vines in the ground.
Awesome. Yeah, we get in the longer episode just how high density those can get. Moving on to question number 2. If someone has never heard about Bell Hill, what is the first thing you would want them to know?
It's a cool climate vineyard where we are. And it's basically what the reason why we are there is the limestone. And it's a pure form of marine-derived limestone. And yeah, we've got a very high plant density, right up to 18,000 wines per hectare.
We're growing wine that expresses the voice of the land through the soil and the microclimate. That's what we try to express in the wines that we make.
The star of the show is the land.
Mm.
Yeah, sorry, not us.
Excellent. Now this one, I think I already know the answer, so maybe we can dive into even more specific parts of Burgundy, but what are some regions or wine styles outside of New Zealand that inspire you?
Well, Burgundy is the main event, as we talked about, and of course Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, and that's where the heart beats. Also, there's a lot of wine regions around the world that we've come to know over time and have a lot of respect for, but it is really Pinot Noir and Chardonnay from this part of the world, Burgundy.
Yeah, the history that we can learn from, the connection and the respect that people have for the land, the way they farm, the level of detail, and the whole cultural aspect of Burgundy is something that is not, that there is no winemaker in Burgundy. They're all vineyards. The wine grower is the person who's in charge, and you grow your wine. And I think that whole concept connected to us, and that's what we want to explore, and that really was the inspiration.
And I think too, because here in Burgundy, it's very much, which just so happens we were located right now during this interview, but it's very much farming. And I think in the new world, what we came to understand is that it's viticulture, it's not farming anymore, it's monoculture. And that what we could really connect was the farming nature of growing grapes and that those grapes becoming wine. And that was where things resonated for us.
And of course, for inspiration, given the soil type, the Chablis is Chardonnay and Champagne with Pinot Noir and Chardonnay too. And of course, a bit of Meunier, but that's always a great example of looking into the dirt, into the soil, and how these wines can really express their sub-regional expression. That's super exciting.
Question 4, which vintages have stood out to you over the years? And this can be either great vintages, hard vintages, just a couple that really have stood out in your memory.
Well, I think the first vintage that we made Chardonnay, and we never sold this wine because we literally made, I think we even had 100 bottles, was 2002. That was the first production of Chardonnay, and we had a bottle of that earlier on in the year with some visiting journalists, and that was still standing up to the point that nobody really believed it was a 2002. So that's something that we celebrate with looking forward at the potential of the vineyard, we hope. And it was a cool vintage, so it was not an easy vintage. It was a very cold year.
Unexpected. 2016, our first single-parcel Chardonnay out of the Linebergs block, a wine where we took the stance to say it's not because it's a single parcel, it's not going to be bigger than the Bell Hill Chardonnay. It's actually less is more. It is not as complex, but it's got a purity and a fine line that runs through there, which is exciting. And it's exciting to see that people get that, because in the end, we can't drink it all ourselves.
Awesome. And then last but not least, looking forward, what is on the roadmap for Bell Hill?
I guess on the roadmap, we've got a few things that are in the mix for us. We've got a sparkling wine project. We had a first tirage bottle in last year. So we're waiting, and that's a non-vintage wine, and we're developing we've got a Solera system for reserve wine for that. So that's very exciting for us. And then also, I suppose, more refinement and detail in every aspect of what we do and how we're farming. We're looking at biodiversity and a succession plan, finding the right people who have an interest in what we do and the ability to commit to long-term goals. And I guess too, with the fruit that we've sourced from outside the region over the last several vintages since 2023, that's a new project for us.
Yeah, and trying to express other regions through our lens.
And then finally, I suppose, from the whole property, it's 3.2 hectares of vineyard, but it's 63 hectares of land we have now, and that's really trying to lead and improve a different picture of what we inherited when we started. So that's diversity, it's wetlands, it's farming, it's compost inputs, and just really looking at, in general, viticulture is very monoculture, and we're trying to very much break away from how that should and could look. And that's where we see the next investment of our vision playing out.
Well, thank you very much. This has been 5 Questions with Marcel Giesen and Sherwyn Veldhuizen.